Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would like to take a look at some new CAMERUPT decks from the set Mega Evolution. So if you've been following my content for a little while now at the very least, then you might have picked up on the fact that Mega CAMERUPT is possibly my favorite Mega to be revealed so far for the Mega Evolutions. Now, I think that'll probably change once we get, like Mega Victory Bill and stuff in TCG. But I think overall, like Mega CAMERUPT is probably my most anticipated Mega, I would say. I don't think it's the best Mega by a long shot, but the card honestly just looks like a blast to play, which is what I really like about this game. So, yeah, Mega CAMERUPT DX, everybody. Looking forward to this one. But yeah, as per usual, we've got some new cards to talk about. So, two new supporters, Lily's Determination and Wally's Compassion. Lily's Determination says, shuffle your hand to your deck, then draw 6 cards. Just a very bog standard shuffle draw supporter. But then, if you have 6 prize cards remaining, so the first few turns of the game really, then draw 8 cards instead, which is fantastic because Mega CAMERUPT DX is a very combo focused deck. Like, you need a lot of pieces to make it work. So having a shuffle draw 8 effect in the first 3 turns is really useful for finding all your pieces and like all the other stage 1s or basics that you'll need. So yeah, Lily's Determination is very useful. Also got Wally's Compassion, which is a 3 of in one of the lists that we'll look at today, so we do have to bring it up. It says heal or damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon EX. And if you do, put all energy attached to that Pokemon back into your hand. So you've probably noticed that Roasting Heat only costs a single Pharangy. So it will only do 80 damage, but if they're burned, it does 160 more. So, 240 damage is a lot, 260 if you count the burn damage. So yeah, that's kind of like what the decks are really based around as well, is just using Roasting Heat. Don't really care about Volcanion too much. But still, having Wally's Compassion basically just means you can fully heal a Mega CAMERUPT without having to use stuff like Scoop Up Cyclone, which would be a bit of annoying actually. And then like Professor Turo's scenario would also be a pain because it would like completely reset the evolution, and you don't really want to always return Mega CAMERUPT to hand. Like sometimes that could be useful because it does have a high retreat cost, but I think overall Wally's Compassion is just a lot more useful. Also, did I say Turo? I think Turo already works on basics. But yeah, Wally's Compassion either way is a great way of just fully healing your Mega CAMERUPT, which is nice. Also got Mega Signal in one of these decks. Search your deck for a Mega Evolution Pokemon EX, reveal it and put it in your hand. Just a bit cheaper than an Ultra Ball, like you don't always want to discard 2 cards from your hand just to get a Mega CAMERUPT going. So having a Mega Signal just means that you can Arven for it at the very least, which is nice. So yeah, definitely a big fan of that. And I guess we can also just talk about Mega CAMERUPT at this point. 340 HP is a decent amount of bulk, especially for a stage 1. Like, it's not like crazy high. I know Mega Gardevoir and Mega Charizard all have like 350, 360 HP, which is kind of a lot. But 340 is still pretty respectable for a stage 1 Pokemon, but of course giving up 3 prize cards. As mentioned earlier, it does have a very annoyingly high retreat cost, so I'm hoping we get some like additional support for Pokemon that have a mammoth retreat cost, because retreat cost of 4 is just rough. Like that's just really bad. So yeah, either we get like Floatstone back or some kind of Heavy Boots reprint, but yeah, the retreat cost is annoying. Weakness to water, I'm not super worried about, at least until they reveal like Mega Blastoise, which they haven't done actually. I was surprised that Mega Blastoise is not in the set, by the way. But yeah, I thought Mega Blastoise would for sure be in Mega Evolution, but they're saving it for some reason. But yeah, we'll see what Mega Blastoise does in Mega Greninja. But yeah, the 2 main attacks though, Roasting Heat, 80 damage, and if your opponent's active is burned, you do 160 more. So 240 or 260 with a burn effect, which is quite good for just a single energy, very efficient. And then Volcanometer, which you could use like Ignition Energy, I guess, to pay for if you really wanted to. Or like do some other energy acceleration combos like, I guess, Charizard EX, although that seems a bit painfully inefficient at that point. Or, like you could use some kind of Ho-Oh Armoured Box style deck maybe for Volcanometer. But like honestly, I don't think like the attack is super great. Like 280 is respectable to just like flatline something for 280. But overall, I think it's a bit expensive for what it's doing. And, you're not really offering too many one-hit kills with Volcanometeor. Not in the day and age where we have Megas and, Stage 2 Pokemon with more than 300 HP. So Roasting Heat is the main appeal of Mega CAMERUPT. That and the fact it's very bulky. So yeah, the very first deck list is quite a fun one. It's running Volcarona and Magmortar. So Volcarona came around in the recent sets. It's basically just discard a Pharangy from your hand to inflict a burn. So fantastic, already got synergy there. And it is also playing Magmortar, which I do think is a smidge greedy, but it does increase your burn damage by 2. So assuming you do have a Magmortar down, you will be able to do 280 damage. But it is also worth mentioning that if you actually do Volcanometeor and you do the 280, you could also get the burn in there for 300 and then 320 with a burn from Magmortar, which is really cool. Then, of course, you could play things like Gravity Mountain in this list as well. So, plenty of ways to get really big one-hit kills, which is nice. Sadly, though, that because Numel has a high HP, which is really unfortunate. Like, I really wish Numel had only had 70 HP. Sadly, you can't really use Puffin in these builds, like especially with their like Magmar as well having high HP. So you do have to play Precious Trolley, which is a little bit rough. And it does mean that if you like Arven turn 1 going second for Precious Trolley, and Precious Trolley is prized, then yeah, things are going to get awkward pretty fast. So I do wonder if maybe Lily's Determination over Iono could be good in this build, just because I do like Iono for like the disruption in the mid to late game, but I do think Lily's Determination could be really useful just to like get more basics down if you prize Precious Trolley or something. I think that would be good as well. It would also mean that you don't necessarily have to start with Arven. It takes some pressure off on the earlier hands, I think. So yeah, that's like the only change I'd really make to this list, though. Like, overall, it's very solid. Nothing really too crazy in the supporter line. Okay, it is playing Tourist scenarios, so like you can move evolution Pokemon. That's fine. Also running Hilda, which is interesting. I guess Hilda could just get you like another CAMERUPT setup as well as the Ignition Energy if you really wanted to on a one-off, but also could find a basic energy. But yeah, 2 copies of Earthen Vessel. Maybe you could even like go down to Energy Search over Vessel, just because you really don't need that many energy in hand. But I guess you want to attach one and then also have a Volcanion ability trigger maybe every turn. So yeah, okay, that's fair actually. But yeah, I think overall though, a very solid list. Buddyu is also interesting to see because wait, there's 2 copies of TM Evolution and also a copy of Buddyu. I'm not really sure if you need Buddyu if you're playing 2 copies of TM Evolution, but interesting list though regardless. Yeah, very cool. Next up is we have, I do apologize, the next few deck lists will be slightly blurry. It's just the place that I've got the images from, sadly, makes them blurry. But yeah, a 3-3 line of CAMERUPT, 2 Volcanion, which is your main wave inflicting burn, 2 Latias, because you really can't afford to prize one. So like your Volcanion is there to inflict burn on your opponent's active Pokemon, but Volcanion itself has to be active. And then you have to like free retreat it into CAMERUPT, and then you could like switch CAMERUPT into Volcanion again if your opponent survives a hit, for example, and if you survive a hit. So like if CAMERUPT actually survives its bulkiness, which is your main aim, like you do want CAMERUPT to stick around for as long as possible, of course. But if it doesn't, or I should say, if it does stick around, then you will have to switch away. So that's why it plays 4 switches. But yeah, also playing 3 Wally's Compassion that we mentioned earlier to just heal up your CAMERUPT, which is nice. Also got 3 Grabber, which is not an item card you see every day in the TCG. It's that one rogue item from the set 151 that lets you look at your opponent's hand and then reveal a Pokemon you find there and shuffle it back into their deck. So kind of cool disruption. I don't think it's super competitive right now for a good reason. It's just a bit flippant on whether or not it'll actually be useful. But I do think overall, like, it's not the worst card to have around. The list is also playing Squawkabilly and Fez, which is absolutely fine, and also playing Hero's Cape, actually, as a choice of ace spec. So 440 HP is a lot of bulk for a stage 1 Pokemon to have. It's a crazy amount of HP. I do worry about Tool Scrapper. Like, Tool Scrapper has been reprinted recently, but I guess not many people are playing Tool Scrapper, so it's not the worst thing. Again, this list is also playing 3 Carmine. I would say the new Lilies is better than Carmine, though, overall, though. Like, I think I'd rather have the Shuffle Draw 8 than maybe get to play a supporter turn 1 going first. Like, I kind of understand why it's Carmine over Lily, just because if you're forced to go first, then you have, like, at least a few more aggressive ways of finding your basic Pokemon, but I still think I would value the Shovel Draw 8 over the potential Discard Draw 5 on the first turn. But yeah, that's just my thoughts overall, though. Very cool list overall. Like, you could even make way for like a Precious Trolley in here as well if you wanted to. Like, you could lean into Arven and stuff, but overall, a very solid list, I would say, which is pretty cool. Next up, though, is we have a Dragapult variant. So, interesting enough with this list is that you could stick a Legacy Energy on CAMERUPT, so it's now a 2-prize Pokemon with 340 HP, which is 10 more than Charizard, which is fun. And then you could like make your opponent KO 2 Dragapults after that. Like you could get a Psychic Energy on the first Dragapult and then use the Energy Retrieval or Night Stretch or something to get the Psychic Energy back and do it again. So then at that point, you could force your opponent to take all 6 prizes that way. But alternatively, you could just turn Dragapult into 1 prizer and like really fudge the maths a bit, like make your opponent KO a Dragapult, another Dragapult actually, because that would take you to 3 prizes, and then a regular CAMERUPT. So there's possible to do that. So I think the biggest strength this deck has is manipulating the prize race with Legacy Energy, and then also having just Dragapult as an attacker. Like, face it, it's a really good attacker. 200 damage for a Psychic and a Fire, it's solid. And then the 6 damage counter spread also sets up your first attack quite nicely to actually finish off other Pokemon. So I'd say this is a very solid list overall. Sadly, it is a bit kneecapped by the fact that Numel has high HP again, so you can't just rely on Poffin to get the whole board set up. If you could, that'd be great. Pokemon, if you're watching this video, please print us a Numel with 70 HP or less. That would be great. But yeah, sadly, no 70 HP Camel, so we have to use an S-Ball, which kind of sucks. Still playing 4 Poffin though, because 3P is still important, and Larvesta is also important. But yeah, also running a Mega Signal, 4 Lilies as well, so got high copies of Lilies, Arvin, and Iono. But overall, if you have a Dragapult deck already, then you won't need to pick up too many cards to build this. Like, you would probably need the Volcarona and like some of the more niche items and tools, but I think overall a very solid list. So yeah, pretty cool. Looking forward to giving this one a go. Next up is we have probably the most bonkers list in this video. And that is, of course, going to be a Gholdengo build. I know Gholdengo's had a lot of fun at Worlds, branching out with different builds, and Joltik Box did really well as well in Seniors. I think it came... Did it win Seniors? I can't remember, actually. I think it either won Seniors or finished second or something daft. But yeah, Gholdengo has been doing very well in the TCG. But yeah, Gholdengo is an interesting partner for CAMERUPT. Like, you still have the huge 1-hit kill option, but you also have a good draw engine as well. So like, it's like 6 and 2 3s. Like, I kind of like it, but at the same time, I think I prefer Dragapult overall, just because Dragapult itself has a bit more bulk, and you're able to like do some spread damage shenanigans. But I suppose this does fix the issue of CAMERUPT not really having that huge 1-hit kill attack that maybe it desires. Like, it has the bulk, it has the 2 shots, it can 1-hit kill smaller Pokemon, but it can't really 1-hit kill the big stuff. So having Gholdengo kind of answers that problem. So yeah, Gholdengo's interesting. Like, I don't know if it's like the main attacker in this deck really, and CAMERUPT's like a side piece that you maybe bust out once in a blue moon. But yeah, I think if you wanted a competitive CAMERUPT build, then this is probably the go-to build. Although I don't know why the single prize Gholdengo is in here. I don't know what that's doing on the list. I'm assuming it's for some reason, like for some matchup, but can't really think of one off the top of my head. Also, this list is playing Precious Trolley over Energy Search Pro, so not as many unique energy in this one, but still pretty interesting. You could, of course, tap with Monkey Dory because you're playing both Dark and Psychic, but yeah, pretty cool list overall. Also running Tool Scrapper, worth mentioning, and still play Volcarona and the Chiyu for some reason that does like 60 damage for energy, then you have to discard a Stadium. So I don't know about the Chiyu again. I don't think the Chiyu is very good, but yeah, it's an interesting list. Maybe not my cup of tea, but it's probably someone's cup of tea, right? But yeah, if you're a fan of Gholdengo at the very least, then you have a Gholdengo CAMERUPT build to try out. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about CAMERUPT down below. I'll definitely be trying out CAMERUPT as soon as I can. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to play this set on the week of its release, which is really unfortunate. I might do like a channel update video soon, or like a channel update community post or something, but keep your eyes peeled for that. But either way, I would love to play CAMERUPT, so do let me know what you think down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.